What's going on, you guys? My name's Ty Knots, and welcome to Top 5 Unknowns, 5 bizarre twists in true crime history. Number 5. Charles Manson is a man who needs no introduction. Having formed the Manson family cult, Charles is known to have been involved in the deaths of at least 9 people, though there are likely more. While he evaded the law for a number of years, he was eventually caught and convicted in 1971 and sentenced to life in prison, where he remained until November of 2017 when he passed away. However, before his life as a cult leader, Manson was known to have been involved in drugs and is known to have shot a man named Bernard Crowe over a drug-related dispute. This man allegedly owed Manson money that he refused to pay, so Manson tracked him down, headed out to his apartment, and shot him. Manson believed that he'd taken Crowe's life. In fact, when he was arrested years later, he even admitted guilt in Crowe's passing. However, there was just one issue. Crowe was still alive and well. Apparently, after the shooting took place, Crowe was simply unconscious for a time but made a full recovery. He never went to police about the incident or reported it to any of his friends or family.
He said, this woman took my money. And he sees women lighting my cigarettes, and he's saying, yes, ma'am, I open the door for you. In other words, he's a matriarch, I'm a patriarch. He sees the way I'm doing it, he wants to do what I'm doing, so he said he's going to go get his money back. So he went to go get his money back. And he went and he burnt the broad for $5,000. When he beat her for $5,000, some black guy called me and said, I'm Gangster Dan over here, man. You cook my money. I said, look, Gangster man, all you white brothers are together. I'm coming up there. I'm going to burn everybody up and take that ranch. I said, no, you're not around me, you're not. You talk that shit to them little girls. When you come to me, boy, you don't have to, because I'll take your hat home to you, you dig? So we go through some changes, and I told Tex, go down there and face that man. Don't drag your shit to my door, man. He said, I can't. He'll kill me. I said, well, if you're crazy, if you're scared, run home to mother, you dig? So he couldn't do it. So I had to go down there, and I ended up shooting the guy. He comes up to me and says, well, this guy beat me for my money. What should I do? I said, whatever you feel is right. Should I go get it back? I said, if you're big enough, go get it back. If not, sit down and forget it. He said, what would you do? I said, what is it? He said, $5,000. I said, well, it might be big enough to go get it. If you're big enough, go get it. So he went down and beat some broad for the money. The broad had beat him for his money. He just got his faith back, went back and beat the broad for her money. Then he comes to me, he runs and hides. They call me and say, where's my money, son of a bitch? Woo-woo. I said, man, I got nothing. I go check that to my door, man. Go down there and face it. Oh, they'll kill me. And he ran. Left me to face his responsibilities. You dig? So I take a gun, I have to go down there and I have to get nasty with people, dig? I have to put it in line. I have to say, look, man, I don't know nothing about no money. We'll burn that ranch down, kill everybody else. No, not my friends, you won't. You dig? I said, we went through a lot of changes, so I ended up shooting that dude, you dig?
You kill him?
No.
Number 4. Back in 2008, a sheriff's deputy by the name of Ricky Buchanan was on his way home from a meeting when he heard a burglary that was being called in over the radio. However, what shocked him the most was that the burglary was reportedly taking place at his home address. He hurried home to find that the burglars had stolen his 32-inch television, which he believed he would never see again. However, 5 years later, a tip came into an Indiana police station about 2 men who were believed to have been professional robbers. Police headed over to the man's home to confirm this, and in the home, they found Officer Buchanan's television from 5 years ago. The 2 were then arrested and believed to have faced a rather lengthy prison sentence. Number 3. Back in 2012, Shania Hubers was known to have shot and killed her 29-year-old lawyer, Ryan Poston. Though despite this obviously being a cold-blooded murder, Shania claimed that the attack was in self-defense. After a brief deliberation, however, Shania was nonetheless convicted of intentionally taking the life of her lawyer and was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Though just a short while later, Shania received the news that she was being awarded a second trial. This because one of the jurors at her original trial was determined to have been a felon, and felons are not allowed to serve as jurors. According to reports, the juror is known to have evaded child support payments for over 20 years, doesn't remember pleading guilty in Shania's case, and had no idea that he was a felon. Because of this, Shania hired a new defense team, who many believe will likely get her off without serving any prison time.
Looking back on it, I feel like I was led on. I feel like I was manipulated, used, and abused.
Hubers makes one last plea to the judge.
It was never about Ryan's family. It was never about them. I don't mean to hurt anyone else. I never meant to hurt anyone else.
This case comes down to one phrase.
Just once to hear the words, I shouldn't have done that.
But I listened to everything that was said in here. I never heard a word or a look that said, I'm sorry to these people back here.
It's certainly not justice.
No.
Because justice in this case can't be given in a courtroom. So what happens today is that the family has this stage over with, so they can actually try to start healing.
Shayna Hubers shot and killed her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Northern Kentucky attorney Ryan Poston, in October of 2012. She said it was self-defense. The prosecution said she was furious because Poston was going to break up with her, and the jury agreed with the prosecution. Shayna Hubers was convicted and was given a 40-year sentence. However, it turned out that one of those jurors had a previous felony conviction which he did not disclose, and jurors are not allowed to have felonies in Kentucky. So Judge Fred Stein set aside the conviction and ordered a new trial for September of this year. However, since then, Shayna Hubers has gotten a new attorney. He said he needs even more time to prepare. He asked for up to a 6-month extension. Prosecutor Michelle Snodgrass said, wait a minute, you can have some extension. That's way too much. Judge Fred Stein sort of had a compromise. So now the retrial, the murder retrial for Shayna Hubers will be starting on January 16th of 2018.
Number 2. Gary Ridgway is a man who we mentioned in a video just a few weeks ago, better known as the Green River Killer. Gary is known to have been involved in the deaths of over 48 people, though some speculate that he may have taken the lives of closer to 90. To this day, he remains one of the most prolific killers in American history, a fact that he's quite proud of. In fact, when he was captured in 2001, he's reported to have immediately confessed to police about every single person whom he had killed, describing their attacks in detail and providing all of their names, without police having to pressure him in any way. In total, he admitted to 71 murders, though only 48 could be confirmed. He's obviously facing life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Mr. Ridgway, how do you plead to the charge of aggravated murder in the first degree, as charged in count 1 for the death of Wendy Lee Caulfield?
Guilty.
How do you plead to the charge of aggravated murder in the first degree, as charged in count 2?
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
She was a mother, she was a wife, she was a sister, and we miss her.
Gary Ridgway sat there stone-faced as victims' relatives damned him and mocked him.
He's an animal. I wish for him to have a long, suffering, cruel death.
He's gonna go to hell, and that's where he belongs.
But then the emotionless facade finally cracked when the father of one of his victims appeared to surprise him with a dose of human kindness.
Mr. Ridgway, there are people here that hate you. I'm not one of them. You've made it difficult to live up to what I believe, and that is what God says to do, and that's to forgive. You are forgiven, sir.
Number 1. Andre Chikatilo is known as one of the strangest, worst serial killers in the world. He began taking the lives of individuals back in 1973, when he was a teacher in the Ukraine. He's known to have sexually assaulted some of his students regularly, typically without facing any sort of punishment. In fact, it's reported that when he was confronted about the issue, he wasn't even fired. The school offered for him to quit instead so that he could more easily find a new job in the future. From here, he got a new job, and rather continue sexually assaulting students, he began taking their lives. From here, police and public media began to notice that numerous kids were coming up missing all across the country, with police officially issuing a statement indicating that there was a likely serial killer on the loose. However, Andre used all of this info to his advantage. He followed news about himself and used this information to avoid being captured for years. Anytime reports of police searching a certain area of the country would come in, Andre would simply go elsewhere and commit his crimes there. He continued this cycle until 1990, when he was finally captured and convicted of his crimes. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.